Rob, can you just tell everyone how you went about in being frugal in terms of buying the new equipment? You just didn't go out and buy brand-new equipment. You were
Oh,
pretty industrious in terms of that.
We kinda
regard.
had to be, I mean, we were able to, the one company, they provide a lot of, coverage of, they actually do more professional than satellite uplinks. They had a set of cameras from the former Archdiocese of Springfield. And they're very, very high-end broadcast quality cameras. They were just used to cover mass, and they were used like once a week, but we saw it, we tested the cameras out, they were a great deal, they were a great find, they were fully functional, they were just standard definition. I mean, we're not able to broadcast in high def, so we're not really jumping into the high def market quite yet.
So we're not 3D yet with the
No, I
glasses
know,
involved?
that's be a couple more years. I'm trying to, Comcast the whole Xfinity thing.
But these are blessed, I guess, huh?
Yeah, they are. But it's, again, it's funny that a lot of this high-end broadcast equipment is now just being put to the curb, for lack of a better term, and we're able to at least cash in on that. For not having a substantial nest egg to start with, I mean, if you really go online, you look how much broadcast equipment, it's not cheap. It's not cheap by any means, so when you get a good deal like that and the devices work fine, it's kinda nice. It's kinda like a blessing, for lack of a better term, it's, yeah, and I mean, Sean's right, we've just put a good effort into trying to get what we can get and make the most of what we have for now. And, Rome wasn't built in a day, neither was NORCAM. We're just working on it there, so.
Well, we have seen progress, and
Yeah,
I
good,
think
substantial.
the board is
Thank you.
still in support of
Excellent, thank you.
NORCAM and all of its volunteers.
Pretty much, yeah, I'm just the only one there, so.
And to the members of the board, thank you.
I noticed
Your
you were
efforts.
I noticed though you are looking to add a person. Is that?
Yes, we'd like to. I mean, I'd like to be able to at least be open a couple weeknights a week,
Yeah.
just so we could facilitate having classes, or, it's just great to have another set of hands around too. I mean, if you try to wire something up by yourself, it's throw it through there, you run down the other end of the room, you pull it through. It's a little nutty, so. Like I said, we just do the best we can with what we got, and it's only onward and upward from here, so.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Yeah, take
Appreciate
care.
it.
Okay, next item on our agenda is FY 2011 Water Rate and Capital Improvement Plan, and I see Mark Hall here.
Clark?
Clark. Clark.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Did I say Mark Hall?
Yeah, but Theo.
Theo, I'm sorry.
This on NORCAM still.
Pursuant to our agreement with the town, the Cable Advisory Committee has to give its blessings for the previous report, which I will now read,
Okay,
and then.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's okay, then you either vote to accept or vote to reject, but,
Okay.
Cable Advisory Committee, and I'm Theo Kouliopoulos. I'm Vice Chairman of the Cable Advisory Committee, and I'm also the Board of Directors of NORCAM. So, no conflict of interest. Cable Advisory Committee Annual Report for 2010, 9th of March 2010. The North Reading Cable Advisory Committee met on Tuesday, March 9, 2010, to review and discuss the annual report of NORCAM, the nonprofit public access corporation operating at 21 Bow Street as per the agreement between NORCAM and the town. The CAC recommends acceptance of the annual report with the following notes. The CAC is pleased that the construction of NORCAM's new facility at 21 Bow Street is almost complete. It is centrally located for easy access by all residents and is accessible by foot to the students of 3 area public schools, in addition to being close to the senior center, Flint Memorial Library, and the police and fire departments. The CAC is also pleased that NORCAM has taken steps to improve the signal quality of both recorded and live programming, including the signal from Town Hall. The CAC looks forward to continued progress in this area with the installation of newer equipment as is listed in the annual report. The CAC notes that NORCAM's membership numbers remain low and hopes that there will be significant improvement in this area in the coming year, as is indicated in NORCAM's annual report as a 2010 goal. The new facility and new equipment should make this an achievable goal. The CAC overall is pleased with the progress of NORCAM and looks forward to seeing NORCAM's resources made available to all town residents upon the grand opening in spring 2010. respectfully submitted to North Reading Cable Advisory Committee.
Very good.
Do you have any questions?
No, I think we need a motion then to accept it, and we don't have, one in our packet, so
We'll prepare one and it'll be ready for your next meeting.
or we can just make the
Yeah,
motion.
Or if you
now.
want, go ahead.
It's on our agenda, it's not,
Yeah, move to
Right.
accept the, report as presented by NORCAM.
motion by Mr. O'Leary, second by Mr. Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Mark Clark. I'm a little sleep deprived after dealing with water in the basement all night, so,
It's a good night to talk about water.
yeah.
No shortage right now.
I was gonna give you the drought update.
It's high.
I wonder if they've taken the signs down in Middleton yet.
Good evening, I'm accompanied tonight by the Chair of the Water Commission, Steve Kazaza, I think everyone knows Steve. I'm just gonna go through the packet that I had provided to you quickly, and then we'll go to, we can talk about the rates and the capital plan. The front page kinda sums it up. I've met with the Water Commission, and the recommendation is gonna be to bring forth a 4% rate increase for the coming fiscal year. Just to take you back, we last adjusted the rates going into FY 2009, so it was July 1st, 2008, the rates went up by 2%. We did come before you last year, we recommended a 2% rate increase, which would have been sufficient to cover our budget and generate about $100,000 in surplus. But we recognize that we also just received a $700,000 settlement in that MTBE issue, and given the economy a year ago, we felt that it was, a little tough to ask people to kick up another 2% so that we would have another $100,000 in surplus, and therefore, there was no rate adjustment made last year. I just want to quickly go through where are we this year. The second page, which has the spreadsheet information with it. If you look at the bottom line of the left-hand column, the budget of the water department for FY 2010 was about $3.03 million. If you look over 3 more columns for the projected expenses, we're actually looking to underspend by about $90,000 our budget this year. Basically, if you think back to last summer, what happened was it rained almost continually to mid-July, from May to mid-July. Subsequently, we didn't have a real high water demand last summer. Unfortunately, what happens is the more water we sell during the summer, most of that's going at that third-tier rate. That's when we can kind of make or break our budget. So unfortunately, we didn't sell a lot of water at that, summer rate last year. What does that mean to our revenues this year? Our revenues are down a little bit, but our expenses are down a little bit as well. Typically, our rates are set that for an average year, we'll break even. If we have a little bit of a dry year and we sell a little bit more water, we can actually generate a surplus. If we have a wet year and sell less water, we're in a little bit more difficult position financially. You look at this, the next page of it, which shows our collections and billings for the FY 2010. Projecting out where we are now, we're gonna bill out at about $3.03 million, which is just about where our original budget was. So if we actually spend the $2.9 million, we could have a slight surplus in collection. The problem has been in the past that do we collect all the money that we bill in any given fiscal year? And obviously we don't. We've talked about this before, that there is a pool of people that don't pay in FY 10 and then it goes to lien on their taxes in FY 11. We are trying to get a little more aggressive from a collection standpoint. I think you all saw the notice that was in the paper and was in your bills relative to the potential of actually having your water shut off for non-payment of bills. So we're trying to get the message out there that in order for it to be a 2% rate increase in a given year instead of a 4% rate increase, we need people to pay their bills. There's no reason we should have to go up extra on the rates because certain people aren't paying their bills. So we are looking to push collections as we go through this spring. We did have a late billing last year, which subsequently rolled into a little bit more collections in this current fiscal year, but we do need, because we had such a weak sales season last summer, we do need a very good collection year this year. Just looking at the next page, which is the FY 2011 budget projections, the very right-hand column, the 3.03 from this fiscal year jumps up to about 3.13 the next fiscal year. What happened was Andover basically recognized that they didn't have a good sales summer last year either. Their own town sales were down, the amount that we bought from them was down about 12% last summer. They subsequently, this year, raised their rates by 10%. It was effective December of 2009, so it affects the last 7 months of this year. It also affects all of next year. They project to be at that rate, so that's about $120,000 hit to us. So that's basically where the bulk of that increase in the budget request is coming from. $122,000 translates to a budget shortfall of about 4.1%, which that's the rate increase that we're requesting. And I just want to give out a little information on the rates, kind of a couple options you might want to look at. Traditionally, what we've done with the rates is, if we need a 2% rate increase, we've done a 2% rate increase across all 3 tiers.
Mark, just before you get into the discussion on the rates, the rate we pay, I believe, from Andover is the same rate that they charge there.
It's their, I think they have one rate throughout town, but it is their rate that they charge their residential and commercial customers.
Okay, so when they voted to increase the rate, then it automatically flows in our contract. And-
There's a kicker there, if we buy under a certain volume, we actually pay, I think it's 20% more than their residential.
Right, that's what I thought.
But we've exceeded that volume for some time, so when they increase the rates 10% to their customers, we effectively get charged 10% more as well.
Okay.
What's the average household use? Gallons?
It's tough to say, I mean, they say it's 90,000 gallons a year, but, I don't know that that's true or not. No, I just misplaced a piece of paper.
Oh, did,
Yeah, what we've traditionally done, if we need a 4% rate increase, we've recommended 4% across however many tiers we've had. We now have 3 tiers, so the option 1 I'm showing on this page, you see the current water rates start at $5.80 per 1,000 gallons. Applying just a 4% increase to all 3 of those tiers shows those rates in that under option 1, where the low tier would go from $5.80 to $6.03 per 1,000 gallons. Greg had asked us to take a look at an alternative method of payment. A number of other towns use it. It's a discounted rate, where it basically is twofold. It's number 1 to generate revenue, but number 2, it also gives people an incentive to pay on time by offering them water at a discounted rate for X number of days, after which it jumps up to some inflated rate. And as an example, I'm just saying if we could increase the rates by 12% to all 3 tiers, but if we provide a 12% discounted rate for the first 30 days of the billing, effectively people who are paying on time under that scenario aren't seeing any rate increase at all. So what you're seeing is there's a 12% increase and a discounted rate where the 3 tiers are exactly the same as they are now. Just a word of caution on that. I actually talked to our software programmer for the billing, and he, I knew this, but he emphasized this as well. What he's seen in other towns have gone to the discounted rate and then gone away from it is there's no guarantee to generate any additional revenue on a discounted rate. If everyone pays on time, then you effectively generated $0 additional. Will everyone pay on time under a discounted rate? No. There'll still be, X% are gonna pay after.
Mark, is there any evidence that the fall off on people paying their water bills kind of right after we changed the billing process was driven by people who may have forgotten to pay the bill like me? Because I got it with my tax bill and they had 2 separate dates, I separated it, paid the tax bill, and then forgot to pay the water bill.
Yeah, that's actually the trash bill, and I think there was
Oh,
some
the trash
strong-
bill,
there-
right,
There
right.
was some strong evidence that there were a number of people who didn't pay their trash bill.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, I'm mixing it up.